Welcome to GBALL Vision, everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. We have an exciting knife to dig into here tonight. This is the Miguron Keryx 2, and this thing has gotten quite a bit of hype, and I think for good reason. We're going to first we'll start off with some materials here. So with this particular knife right here, you have a high polish sandblasted blade. You're getting M390 on the blade steel, which is a great choice for this knife here. Gonna get a lot of edge retention. It's gonna be pretty tough. And this high polish sandblast has held up extremely well. And I can say that because this particular knife, it's held up very well. And after doing some looking over my collection, I realized that I have quite a bit of sandblasted blades, and not a single one of them has any tarnishing. I have some that are up to 2 years old, and not a single spot of corrosion. So that is a huge deal to me. I know that bead blasting on the blades definitely causes some corrosion issues no matter what the steel is. So I think that's a good finish, good steel choice, and an awesome blade shape. You have this hole cut out here for your thumb and reverse flicks, which you can do both very, very well with this knife. The detent is tuned, I would say, very good for a knife that has a hole and a front flipper. Yes, it is a touch lighter than it would be if the front flipper was gone. If there was no front flipper, I believe that the detent would be a little stronger than it is. But because it is a front flipper, I think they kind of dialed it back just a touch. But I think everything works very, very well with this thing. You can do all the front flipper things that you would want to do. Uh, it's the action is phenomenal on this thing, and it's become one of my favorite user knives, favorite EDC knives that I actually am not afraid to beat up on, and it's held up extremely well. And then you have this beautiful micro milling that has been done on these titanium scales, very well finished. I like how there's no branding on the blade. You just have the Miguron emblem there on the pivot, and that is it. And then you have your steel choice there on the clip side, which I think this is a perfect example of what should be done as concerns the branding on the knives or anything on the knives. Something on the pivot, your steel choice, if there's a maker's mark or something, and let that be it. Beautiful geared titanium backspacer here. You do have a titanium milled pocket clip, and then you do have a brass anodized pivot collar here on the clip side. This thing is damn near perfect for an EDC knife. You have a nice full-size finger choil here where you can choke up. The regular standard grip here is very comfortable, even giving it a nice squeeze. I don't feel any hot spots. I kind of feel the clip just a slight bit, but nothing that would affect me in using this thing extra hard if need be. It's a good size. You have a nice amount of edge here to get pretty much anything that you would do with a folder. This is going to accomplish it very well. We'll go ahead and get a couple of specs on this guy. Your cutting edge is going to be coming in just shy of 3 inches, basically 3 inches on the nose. And then you got about 3¼ to this tip here. And if you want to come down here, about 3½. Your overall length is going to be just shy of 7¾ just shy. So it's a nice EDC sized knife, in my opinion. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's not too heavy. We'll get to the weight here in just a second. The blade stock is coming in at 117. And then our behind the edge is coming in. We'll just pick a random spot here. And that is coming in at... That is coming down around 10,000. So that is very, very nice. Why don't we check the handle here while we got these out? 0.48. So it is on the thinner side. It's not, it's going to be a good size, I think, for the majority of people who EDC a folding pocket knife, the majority. Because it's not too small and because it's not too big, I think this is going to fit the bill for a lot of people. The price point for this thing is absolutely phenomenal. I think these can be had as low as like 150, 160 in that general ballpark. And to get titanium and M390 and titanium accents, this kind of build for that price, it's exceptional in my opinion. Coming in under 4 ounces, so this is going to be a fairly lightweight knife. 4 ounces is by no means heavy. Sure, it doesn't keep up with the ounce per inch deal, but I don't give 2 squirts of piss about that. So that is kind of what it is. I think it's a phenomenal size. I think it's been a phenomenal knife. Why don't we go ahead and we'll throw up a couple size comparisons here. We have the 80 20.5, which is going to be a very fair comparison. How about the Synapse XL? And that's going to be quite a bit bigger than the Keryx 2. We'll go ahead and bring out a couple popular knives here. How about the Spyderco Shaman? You'll see that the Shaman is a little bit bigger than the Keryx 2. How about the Miguron Knives in that Stormtrooper look? So that is going to be a very fair comparison too. And the Moyero is a hot knife. A lot of people have bought in this knife. So if you have the Moyero, this is going to be a very fair comparison. Just a little bit bigger, and I mean a touch on the blade and handle. And it's the same company. So if you like the Moyero and you like a sheep's foot style blade, the Keryx 2 is going to be an exceptional knife for you. And just for fun, we'll throw it up against a Zippo and a little Victorinox. So you can get a good reference of its size off those size comparisons. So would I recommend this knife? I definitely would recommend this knife. They have several different flavors that you can choose from. I love the blade shape. I'm a huge sheep's foot, Wharncliffe fan. Very useful blade shapes. You have multiple deployment options with the hole and the front flipper, so you won't really ever get tired of messing with this thing if that's what you like to do. I love being able to thumb flick a frame lock out, and you can certainly do that with this guy. The detent is, I think it's just fine. I see why it's a little lighter, and I can't really knock them for doing that, because if it's too strong, then you can't really use the front flipper the way it's intended to be used. Could it be a touch stronger for my liking? Yes, and I could probably strengthen it up a little bit myself. Going into the lock bar, we have good lock up there, about 25%, I would say. The knife did come centered, and it is still nice and centered. You have great access to that lock bar, a nice long chamfer there, making this extremely comfortable to disengage. Like I said, the aesthetics of this thing are, it's beautiful. very good looking knife when it's opened and when it's closed. I'm a big fan of this knife. And like I said earlier, this knife has gotten a lot of hype and a lot of praise since it's come out from the people who have gotten it. And not one person have I talked to that's bought this knife have they not liked it. So, you know, that kind of speaks volumes. And I've had a lot of people ask me about this knife, getting this knife, you know, would I recommend it? And this video has been a long time coming. I'm really behind on overviews to do. I have probably 100 overviews that I need to do. This was just kind of one of the first ones that I wanted to get out of the way. The ergonomics are great. Full size choke up there, so you can pretty much handle this in any grip that you know you would want to. This is also great for an index style cut. I love this thing. That point's going to be right below the fingertip, so you'll be able to do some very precise cutting if that is something that you need to do. Action is phenomenal, and it's broken in very, very good. I have not even had this knife apart yet, so this is, I think there's been a drop or two of oil in there, and other than that, it's just been me opening and closing it to break it in. The accents are great. The titanium, you know, you have that little splash from the pivot collar, and that's on the clip side. So it's very nice, very clean. It's lightweight, in my opinion. There's not much more you could really ask for, and the price point is damn near perfect. In order to get a knife like this from, say, Knives, it would be $300 easily, at least. You know, for M390 or 20 CV and titanium, $250 at least from Knives. That's what they would charge you, no question. Miguron is able to do it for about $100 less, and the build quality stays very consistent. So if you are looking at this knife and say you're new to knives, or you're just looking for that next one, I can highly, highly recommend this knife. And I do not think that you will be disappointed with this knife. It is met every one of my expectations since I ordered it. It's everything that I hoped that it would be, and it's even more. Miguron and AMA have really impressed me this year. Last year they impressed me, but this year they are really killing it with these Model 2s that they're coming out with, the Gladiator 2, the Keryx 2, the Prayer 2. The list goes on. There's a bunch of them. They also continue to put out awesome, more affordable budget offerings that are just almost impossible to beat. $50 for this. There's an unboxing of this if you want to check it out. Overview is coming. Give me a thumbs up, guys. Leave me a comment down below. If you're new here, click the GBALL Vision logo in the center of your screen or down below the video. I'd love to have you here. I'll throw up 2 new videos. I highly recommend going and checking one of them out. Otherwise, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.